Yo, it's your boy Smoke Bath and Madden video. Today's video we're going to be doing a Madden 25 rebuild, and the team we are going to be building is the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals just barely missed playoffs this year in the 2025 season. Well, technically 2024-2025 season. But yeah, 9-8 record, and they weren't even able to make a playoff appearance, and that is pretty surprising considering they had an MVP candidate in Joe Burrow, Offensive Player of the Year candidate Ja'Marr Chase, and Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Trey Hendrickson. But unfortunately, it's just those three peoples. T. Higgins, he is really solid. But other than that, yeah, it's really just those three people. Chase Brown, he's solid as well. But though T. Higgins and Chase Brown aren't really game changers. Now, Cam Taylor-Britt, I do like him on the defensive side of the ball, but I don't really think he's fit to be a cornerback one. So definitely a lot of improvements still need to happen for the Cincinnati Bengals, unfortunately, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. Let's not go ahead and forget that this team did make a Super Bowl appearance 3 years ago against the Los Angeles Rams, so they're definitely capable of being a very solid team, especially in the playoffs. So let's go ahead and get this rebuild started. So these are the people we're going to be losing the 2025 free agency. In the re-signing period, Von Bell, B.J. Hill, Trent Brown, which Trent Brown is actually a pretty big loss. But we got Amarius Mims, and hopefully Amarius Mims can live up to the potential. He was a first-round draft pick. This is who we're going to be signing. Not a whole lot of people in the first year of our free agency, but we're getting Carlton Davis, a really good cornerback, and he can definitely help us on the defensive side of the ball. Then we're going to get Will Hernandez, right guard, 79 overall. He is a serviceable guard. We'll take it. But both these people are kind of younger. They're under 30, so they at least got 5 years left in the tank. And Carlton Davis is a nice 85 overall. In the draft, we're going to go ahead and get Denzel Burke. Now, I know this might be a little bit different than how it looks in real life, but obviously in Madden, you got to go off the created rosters that you get. So we got a 75 overall Denzel Burke, the Ohio State cornerback. Then we got a free safety in Anthony Bowles, and then we got a defensive tackle, Dylan Gabriel in the 4th round, just to get a solid backup. Then we got a left outside linebacker in Dorian Ward, then Greg Carter at left tackle. So the next year, the 2025 season, we were able to make playoffs. So instead of going 9-8 and missing playoffs, we went from 11-6 to making playoffs, and we're going to be facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now let's go ahead and check and see how everyone did this year. Joe Burrow with 4,325 passing yards, 40 passing touchdowns, and 8 interceptions with 74 completion percentage. Still a really good year for Joe Burrow. He was only sacked 27 times, which is a very low amount of times. So that is good to see from offensive linemen. And Chase Brown with 848 rushing yards and 9 rushing touchdowns. Did have 1 fumble. Joe Burrow, 357 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Zach Moss with 121 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Not too bad from our running back room right there. Then we got Andre Lovis with a couple rushing attempts. T. Higgins was actually our leading receiver, not Ja'Marr Chase. T. Higgins with 1,188 yards and 8 receiving touchdowns. Andre Lovis with 15 receiving touchdowns. And Ja'Marr Chase, he only had 981 yards. Leading in tackles for us was Logan Wilson with 128. Then Douglas Lewis with Trey Hendrickson. Then Sam Hubbard. Trey Hendrickson leading in sacks with 12. And then interceptions, it's going to be Logan Wilson with 6. Then Jermaine Pratt. Carlton Davis is up there. That's going to see Carlton Davis up there considering we signed him. We are going to be first round of exits, though. So we were a 6 seed going against the 3rd. So not too surprising. It does kind of suck that we are first round exits, but it's our first year making playoffs, so let's not go ahead and get greedy. Facing Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence had 3 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and Joe Burrow had 272 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, but he had an interception. Travis Etienne, he had 74 yards and no touchdown, but 74 yards off of 18 attempts. That was pretty solid. Chase Brown could have done a little bit better off of 10 attempts, getting 37 yards and no touchdown. Andre Levisauce, he is getting us 82 yards with 1 receiving touchdown. Evan Ingram got 2 receiving touchdowns, and Christian Kirk with 79 yards and a receiving touchdown. Defense, we got Jermaine Pratt as the leading tackler. Then Trey Hendrickson is up there, same with Devin Lloyd. Tackles for loss is going to be Trey Hendrickson. Then we got McKinley Jackson. Sacks is Trey Hendrickson. The Trevor Walker. The interception goes to Kristen Fulton from the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is who we're going to be losing in the 2026 season. Dax Hill, looks like Miles Murphy, Sheldon Rankins. We're not losing anyone big this year, so that is good. Then we're going to go ahead and get in the free agency. We're getting Adoof Awol, the linebacker from the Baltimore Ravens. He is a Penn State alumni. He's actually pretty good. He's actually a really underrated linebacker, I feel like. Then we're getting Brandon Mann. We need a punter. We lost our punter, so we're going to go and get Brandon Mann, locking up for 4 years. So that will be good for the future. Hopefully these players stay a while. That is obviously the key goal. This is what we got in the draft, and obviously it's going to be auto-generated because we can't predict 2 years from down the road. So Daniel Fitzgerald as a center, he's a 74 overall. We took him with the 22nd pick. Then we're going to go ahead and we took Eric Thomas, a 71 overall receiver. And then we took a running back, Stephenson, with a 68 overall. Then we got a 68 overall left outside linebacker. Then we took another quarterback, which we really didn't even need, but it was a 5th round pick. And then we took 6th round left guard, a 66 overall, and 7th round, a 66 overall. So now we got our first trade of the rebuild, and we're going to be trading Charlie Jones and Ted Karras with a 2nd round and a 6th round pick for John Simpson. We just are trying to get some help at the guard position, and it seemed to help because we're making our 2nd playoff appearance in a row, this time facing the Los Angeles Chargers, and we finished with a 10-7 record. Let's go and see how Joe Burrow and the rest of the team perform. Joe Burrow with 4,513 passing yards, really good amount of passing yards, 41 passing touchdowns, that is good, and only 6 interceptions. Joe Burrow is doing phenomenal. Joey B is lighting it up. 72 completion percentage and a rating of 118.3. He was only sacked 25 times. So, yeah, Joe Burrow is staying hot, doing really good for us. Chase Brown, 934 yards, averaging 4.1 yards per carry, 13 rushing touchdowns, no fumbles. Really good year for Chase Brown. Joe Burrow with 298 rushing yards with 2 rushing touchdowns. Then Zach Moss with 5 rushing touchdowns. And then Stevenson with only 5 attempts for 21 yards. T. Higgins 4 attempts with 20 yards. Jamar Chase is being the leading receiver, and that is back to what we were expecting to see with 116 receptions, 1,214 yards, 11 receiving touchdowns. Andre Levis is getting 80 receptions and 1,159 yards. He has 17 receiving touchdowns, though. 17 receiving touchdowns for Andre Levis. So he's doing really good for us. Logan Wilson, 127 tackles. He's leading for us. Then Jermaine Pratt, then Cam Taylor-Britt, Denzel Burke. And nice to see Denzel Burke in there, being in the mix as a rookie. Tuckers for loss is going to be Sam Hubbard, then Trey Hendrickson. Sacks is going to be Sam Hubbard with 10. Trey Hendrickson with only 6. Trey Hendrickson being a 90-plus overall, I was expecting more than 6 sacks. I will not lie, that's a little disappointing. Logan Wilson, Geno Stone leading in the interceptions for us. We are 2nd-round exits. We were able to beat to the Los Angeles Chargers. So the Los Angeles Chargers, even though they were the 2nd seed and we were the 7th, we beat them in the 1st round. But then we faced the Buffalo Bills and we lose 31-13. So let's go ahead. It looks like Josh Allen did really good for the Bills. Actually, he didn't even get 200 passing yards, which, he still had a good amount of passing yards, but still, you want to at least get over 200 normally. But he had 3 passing touchdowns. Joe Burrow, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. Josh Allen definitely had a way better rating. Ray Davis with 64 yards and a rushing touchdown. Chase Brown with 30 yards. It looks like James Cook is no longer on the Bills team. Andre Levis, he is getting us 104 yards off of 6 receptions. Ray Davis caught the ball a lot with 9 receptions and 76 yards. T. Higgins got a touchdown. Eric All got 4 receptions, and Keon Coleman got a touchdown. Carlton Davis leading with tackles. Greg Rousseau is up there for the Buffalo Bills. Tuckers for loss, we see Sam Hubbard's name. Gregory Rousseau got 2 sacks. Ed Oliver got a sack and a half. Interceptions is Terrell Barnard. Then we're going to be losing Chase Brown this year free agency. That does kind of suck, but it's not a huge loss. We could definitely replace him as a running back. So let's go ahead and try to get someone else. We're going to be losing Orlando Brown and Sam Hubbard. So we're losing a few people, but I wouldn't say any huge names. I'm going to go ahead and do another trade. And this is actually the biggest trade I have done, maybe in a rebuild. So we're giving up Austin, just a random quarterback. And then we're giving up a 1st round, a 3rd round, a 4th round, another 1st round, and then a 5th round pick. So, yes, we're giving up a lot of picks. We're doing the Los Angeles Rams strat that they did 3 years ago. But we're getting Jonathan Taylor. Now, I know Jonathan Taylor right now, he is probably 28, if I had to make a guess. And he is really good. Obviously, he's still 90 overall. Then we're getting Brandon Rainman, 90, or not a 90, but close to a 90 left tackle. So, yeah, both positions were a position of need for us, and they're both superstars. So, I'm excited. Hopefully, Jonathan Taylor doesn't regress early. And obviously, that trade worked out very well for us. We went 14-3. Joe Burrow having an amazing year, 4,558 yards, 54 passing touchdowns. That almost broke a record. I believe the record is held by Patrick Mahomes and Peyton Manning with 55. 11 interceptions for Joe Burrow, 72 completion, 122.7 rating. Jonathan Taylor, pretty impressive with 1,348 rushing yards and then 9 rushing touchdowns and 1 fumble. Joe Burrow ran a good amount with 324 yards, averaging 4.4 yards per carry. No rushing touchdown to show, though. But can we just go ahead and look at Jonathan Taylor? He averaged 6 yards a carry. That is absolutely insane. We definitely should have gave him the ball more. Jamar Chase still doing very impressive for us. Jamar Chase with 118 receptions, 1,398 yards, 15 receiving touchdowns. T. Higgins with 14 receiving touchdowns, 1,213 yards. Tutu Atwell with 671 yards and 16 receiving touchdowns. And then Dawson Knox, 662 yards. And then Logan Wilson was our leading tackler. Then Jermaine Pratt, DJ Turner. The tackles for loss is going to be Trey Hendrickson, Leonard Williams. And then looks like, actually, Trey Hendrickson got a lot, 21. That is quite a bit. Trey Hendrickson with 12.5 sacks. Then we got Jenkins with the second most sacks. And then leading interceptions is Denzel Burke and then TJ Turner. Then Geno Stone with 2. And Jordan Battle was able to get 1. So we're already making it to the Super Bowl. That's very impressive for us. Joe Burrow wins the MVP, if you couldn't see on the top right. This is our path to the Super Bowl right here. We obviously got the first round bye since we were 14-3. Then we faced the Baltimore Ravens, and we beat them. And then we faced the Tennessee Titans and beat them. And now we're facing the Philadelphia Eagles. So the team that just won the Super Bowl in real life, we're going to be facing them now. So this will be interesting to see. I'm sure they still have a lot of people that they currently have, considering this is only 3 years down the road in Madden's eyes. So this is definitely going to be a very hard team to beat. I mean, they obviously made the Super Bowl for a reason. They should still have the good core that they have, like A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter. I could go on and on. They got a stacked roster. So obviously we're going to be doing a Super Sim. We don't want to interfere in this at all, but a Super Sim is better for the presentation of the moment. So it is tied 7-7. Now it is 14-7. Now it's tied 14-14. It's anyone's game right now. And it's 21-14 now. The Eagles got a possession lead. Now they got a 2-possession lead. It's still 20. Now they got a 3-possession lead. And this is basically over. Okay, we did get a little bit of a score there. But yeah, this game is definitely over. The Philadelphia Eagles have won the Super Bowl against the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Eagles, they win again. Yeah, there's Joey B right there with his Eminem haircut. But yeah, C.J. Gardner-Johnson doing the Ring Me celebration right there. Jalen Hurts jumping up and down like a little penguin. I don't know why they made him jump like that, but yeah. Anyway, Saquon Barkley, yeah, he still is on the team. So we weren't able to quite get it done. It looks like Joe Burrow did really good, actually. 3 passing touchdowns, 228 yards. He did throw an interception, though. But, I mean, still, it's not like he did bad. Actually, Joe Burrow, I'm not going to lie, we didn't let him throw the ball a lot. Only 15 passing attempts in the Super Bowl. I mean, you should at least have 20, I would say. Should at least have 20 per game, especially if your name is Joe Burrow. Like, you're pretty good at football. Anyway, Saquon Barkley, 13 attempts, 39 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. Jalen Hurts, 4 attempts, 27 yards, and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert, leading receiver, with 6 and 74 yards. Cody Jennings, looks like an auto-generated guy, 72 yards. Jamar Chase, he had 3 receiving touchdowns. He had all the receiving touchdowns. Devontae Smith had 2 receiving touchdowns. T. Higgins had 2 receptions for 23 yards. Saquon had 2 receptions. Denzel Burke leading for tackles in total. And then Jermaine Pratt, Chris Jenkins, Logan Wilson. Tackles for loss, Chris Jennings. Jordan Battle's up there as well. Sacks, there was only 2 sacks in the whole game. And then interceptions was C.J. Gardner-Johnson. All right, guys. So this is who we're going to be losing after we just lost the Super Bowl. Chris Jennings does suck. Chris Jennings was kind of productive for us this year. Eric All, that is okay since we were able to sign Dawson Knox in free agency. But this year in free agency, we're going to go ahead and sign Jack Campbell, the only person we really were able to get. But he's an 86 overall. He's only 28 years old, 85 speed, and we need a middle linebacker position. Even though we have been attending to the defense a little bit, they still are a little bit disappointing at times. I mean, we obviously have a high-power offense. Our offensive line we have made be at least 80 pluses almost everywhere. And then we obviously got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and now we have Jonathan Taylor, so it's pretty hard to beat that. Anyway, we got a left outside linebacker in the second round who's a 67 overall, which does kind of suck. I was hoping to be a little bit better. We got a 65 overall, then a 70 overall. And we're doing a trade right here with a left end, auto-generated left end, and we're giving up a second round, third round, and fourth round pick for Brandon Fisk. I did do a Los Angeles Rams rebuild. I mean, if you guys are interested in that, you guys can check out our Madden 25 rebuilds. But he did pretty good in that simulation, so let's go ahead and go after him. We are 89 overall team, 92 offense, 87 defense, and we obviously made playoffs. No doubt there. We went 10-7. Now we're facing the Baltimore Ravens in the first round. Joe Burrow led the league in passing yards, and Jamar Chase led the league in receiving yards. All right, Joe Burrow, 4,931 yards, 42 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 72 completion percentage, and Joe Burrow with a rating of 115.1. Very good year from Joe Burrow. Jonathan Taylor, he actually fell off a little bit, so I hope he is not starting to regress. He is not at the age where he should be, but running back's always a little tricky in the National Football League. 813 yards and 13 rushing touchdowns. I mean, that's not a horrible year, but obviously Jonathan Taylor normally puts up better numbers. Joe Burrow, 259 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Jamar Chase with 1,616 receiving yards. Obviously, that is amazing. He led the league. I mean, that's amazing. And then 14 receiving touchdowns. And T. Higgins with 1,153 receiving yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. Tutu Atwell with 1,071 yards and 14 receiving touchdowns. I don't even know if this has been done in history before, but 3 different receivers on the same team with 1,000 yards is absolutely incredible. I don't think that's ever been done in history. If it has, I mean, I guess I'm misspeaking, but that is absolutely incredible. Jack Campbell was leading the team in tackles. Trey Hendrickson leading the team in tackles for loss. And then let's go ahead and see sacks. It's going to be Trey Hendrickson with 11.5, and then Frank Gaines with 4. So we kind of are going to need a second guy to step up other than Trey Hendrickson on the defensive line. And I was kind of hoping Brandon Fisk would be in there. Denzel Burke and Jake Campbell both leading the way with 3 interceptions for us, though. Then Anthony Bowles, Carlton Davis, and DJ Turner all got 2. We were close to making another Super Bowl appearance, but we can't quite do it. The Los Angeles Chargers are going to stop us in our tracks. So we're able to beat the Baltimore Ravens in the first round, then the Tennessee Titans, and then we face the Los Angeles Chargers, and we're going to lose 34-28. And looks like it's the Super Bowl of 2 California teams, the Chargers versus the Rams. So that is pretty interesting. That's kind of cool right there. And it looks like Justin Herbert just absolutely dicked on us. Justin Herbert did absolutely amazing. A rating of 148.2, 5 passing touchdowns, 262 yards. Absolutely incredible from Justin Herbert. A 92 completion percentage. Yeah, Justin Herbert did really good. Joe Burrow didn't do bad. I mean, he had 3 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, but still. J.K. Dobbins, 44 yards off of 12 attempts. Not much happening in the run game, to be honest. Tutu Atwell was the leading receiver, apparently, even though Justin Herbert did amazing. Dawson Knox, 85 yards. And then looks like T. Higgins got a little bit of yards. Brandon Ayuk got a receiving touchdown. That's actually pretty... Brandon Ayuk on the Los Angeles Chargers with Ladd McConkey, that's actually kind of a nice duo. Oh, so sacks, we got... Actually, there was like nothing. There was 1 sack and no interceptions. So we're going to be losing Dylan Gabriel in this offseason. I don't think he wants to be a backup. 78 overall. I mean, maybe he could be a starter somewhere. We're going to be losing Bernard Rainman. That doesn't really suck. I was hoping he'd be interested in us, but he is not. We're losing Elton Jenkins as well. Anthony Bowles. We are losing some names this year. Definitely on the O-line. We need some offensive linemen. We're going to get an auto-generated one, though, who has become a free agent. Left tackle, Tyson Valentine. That's actually pretty fitting. Valentine's Day coming up. But he's an 88 overall, only 25 years old, left tackle. Then we got Dax Hill, an 82 overall. and he is 28 and 92 speed. So pretty solid right there. And in the first round of this draft, we got a left end who's a 73 overall, and then we got a left tackle who's a 66 overall, a cornerback who's a 67, Nick Moore, the free safety who's a 65, and then J.D. McMullen, 67 overall, left outside linebacker. We are able to make playoffs yet again with a 10-7 record. We're starting to regress a little bit. Remember, we were up in the 90s with our offense. Now we're up at an 89. Still pretty good, but don't like the fact that we're regressing. Jamar Chase leading the league again in receiving yards. Joe Burrow with 4,301 yards. 58, or not 58, excuse me. That'd be breaking records right there, but 38 passing touchdowns. 38 passing touchdowns with 10 interceptions, 71 completion percentage, a rating of 110.8. And then he was sacked 33 times. His longest was 94 yards. So 94-yard pass, that's actually really long. Jonathan Taylor, and he is starting to regress. Okay, this does actually really suck because I did trade for him, and you guys saw what all I gave up for him and Bernard Raidman, and it sucks because Jonathan Taylor is starting to fall off, and we don't even have Bernard Raidman on the team anymore. Jamar Chase, though, doing really good. You can always bet on him doing good. 115 receptions, 1,470 yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. Tutu Atwell with 14 receiving touchdowns, 923 yards. And then we got T. Higgins with 872 yards, 8 receiving touchdowns. Dawson Knox with 3 receiving touchdowns. Jake Campbell leading with tackles on 111. Then Kendall Brown, Jordan Battle, Denzel Burke. Then we got DJ Turner with the tackles. Tackles for loss to Trey Hendrickson, then Frank Gaines, 22 and then 19. Sacks is 7.5 with Trey Hendrickson, Frank Gaines, and then we finally see Brandon Friska's name with 5 sacks, 3 interceptions for DJ Turner. And we didn't make it far. I mean, we were able to go to the second round, but not that impressive because we did lose to the Buffalo Bills yet again. So it seems like we're always losing to the Bills and the Chargers anytime we face them in the playoffs. Anytime we make the playoffs, that is the two teams who really can't beat in the AFC. So we're going to lose 23-21. Let's see who gave us that L. Josh Allen didn't even do that impressive. I mean, 248 yards, that's good. 115 rating, but only 1 passing touchdown. He did have a really high completion percentage, though. Completion percentage of 78. Joe Burrow, only 177 yards and 2 passing touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, 68 yards, no rushing touchdown, though. Josh Allen with a rushing touchdown. Joe Burrow with a rushing touchdown as well, both with 27 yards. Both quarterbacks got 27 yards on the ground. Dalton Kincaid, 81 yards for Dalton Kincaid. Then it looks like Tutu Atwell got 60 receiving yards. Jamar Chase was able to get a receiving touchdown. Then Derwin James is a Buffalo Bill, and that's actually a really good signing for them. He was leading in tackles and then tackles for loss. And then there was no sacks and there was no interceptions in that game. So this is the people we're going to be losing yet again. So in the coming into the 2030 season, we're going to be losing Pete Groves, Darren Moore. You're starting to see a lot more auto-generated names. We are getting towards the end or the last half of this rebuild, I guess you could say. So normally when this happens on the channel, we cover a little bit less because we don't want to make the video super long for you guys, so I won't probably be showing who I drafted because we gave up a lot of picks anyway, and they're auto-generated. But anyway, we're going to be signing Tevin Jenkins, an 84 overall left guard. That is desperately needed. Then Mekhi Becton, he just won the Super Bowl. He's actually really solid. A lot of people thought he was going to be a bust after that first year. He just needed a little bit of time and maybe a position change. Right outside linebacker, looks like an auto-generated guy, DeAngelo Coakley, right outside linebacker, an 80 overall. And then we're going to get another auto-generated guy, Cordell Stump, at defensive tackle. We're going 13-4, so we're still doing solid, even though this rebuild is starting to come towards the end, and our overall keeps going down every single year. So we were at least a 90-plus overall, then we were an 89, then we're at 88, and now we're at an 86. Let's see the stats from this year, though. And oh my God, Joe Burrow, he is still getting it done somehow. 4,833 yards, 47 passing touchdowns, only 8 interceptions. I mean, this guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, it's not even debatable. 73 completion percentage, a rating of 120.4. Hopefully we can get Joe Burrow in this ring, though. That will help his case for getting a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, Jonathan Taylor was 746 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns with a fumble. So we're starting to see Jonathan Taylor not be as bad. I mean, he really was never bad, but he just started to regress. Jamar Chase, 1,100 or 1,550 or 51 receiving yards, 14 receiving touchdowns, then Tutal with 15 receiving touchdowns, and then T. Higgins with 11 receiving touchdowns. Jake Campbell with 134 yards. And then tackles for loss, it looks like Stephen Myers, and then Adif Owo, and then Frank Gaines. Brandon Fisk leading in sacks with 7. I'm kind of shocked we're not seeing Trey Hendrickson's name at all, really. Jordan Battle with 4 interceptions, then Jake Campbell with 3. And we weren't even able to make it past the second round, so we're losing to the Chargers again. Again, it's like anytime we face the Chargers and the Bills, we're guaranteed to lose. 24-17, the Chargers beat us. And keep in mind, this is the 2030 season. So Joe Burrow with 2 passing touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times, 72 completion percentage. Justin Herbert with 1 passing touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a 65 completion percentage. So judging off Justin Herbert's performance, I don't even really know. They beat us 61 receiving yards or rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor. Ladd McConkey, 12 receptions, 169 yards. Ladd McConkey did really good. Brandon Ayuk is still a Los Angeles Charger, 5 receptions. Then we got Darby with 60 receptions. T. Higgins did solid for us. Tackles is DeMario Harris, then Jake Campbell, and then tackles for loss, Stephen Myers, and then the sacks, John Goodart, Brandon Fisk got a sack. Interceptions is going to go Jake Campbell, Dayon Healy, and then Dax Hill. These are the people we're going to be signing, and this is probably going to be the last year that we're going to be trying to rebuild the Bengals. It just seems like we're going to be making playoffs forever, but we're not going to quite make much playoff success because apparently they just don't like playoff success. But anyway, we're getting a left guard, an 87 overall left guard to help us, and then a quarterback, an 84 overall quarterback. And in the 2031 season, we didn't even make playoffs. We were 6-1, and we still regressed. It was only by 1 overall this time, but yeah, we regressed to an 85 overall. So we are really starting to fall off the rails here. And Joe Burrow with 4,641 passing yards, 35 passing touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, a 71 completion percentage. Only sacked 28 times. Joe Burrow, he's still doing great. I feel like he's going to be one of those all-time greats that just don't even get a ring. And it looks like Jonathan Taylor retired on us. And then we got Stockton with 857 yards. Eric Thomas, we're starting to get to all the auto-generated people taking over in the league. Eric Thomas with 1,431 yards. We drafted him a couple years ago, though. 14 receiving touchdowns. Jamar Chase with 1,220 receiving yards. And then Denzel Burke was able to get in there for tackles for loss. Stephen Myers. Sacks, only 3.5 is the leader for sacks. Trey Hendrickson has retired as well. Denzel Burke with 2 interceptions. So this is about the end of the rebuild. Unfortunately, we weren't able to quite get it done. It looks like in this year that the Kansas City Chiefs beat the New York Giants to make the Chiefs 5-time Super Bowl champions in the 2031 season. But yeah, I know this sucks, but we weren't able to get it done. I know the Bengals technically didn't make playoffs this year, but they're obviously still a good team. Are they cursed, or are they just in a bad era? Or who knows? Because we helped rebuild that defense. The Chargers won the Super Bowl there. And then if you guys are interested in all the other year's winners, Baltimore Ravens beat the Arizona Cardinals in the 2029 season. And then we got the 2028 season. The Los Angeles Chargers beat the Los Angeles Rams. So the team we lost to won the Super Bowl. And the 2027 season, obviously, very familiar. It's the year Joe Burrow won MVP. And it's also the year that we lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. 2026 season, New York Giants beat the Houston Texans. The NFL MVP was Josh Allen. Looks like Quinn Ewers was drafted to New York. 2025, we got another rematch of the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This time, the Eagles win again, and Zach Bond is Super Bowl MVP. In the 2024 season, they have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles again. NFL MVP was Lamar Jackson. If you guys are interested in this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you guys like Madden 25 and Madden 25 rebuilds, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below how you guys found about the video, who else I should try to rebuild. All right, bye.